All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Forge Your Life podcast here with your host, Richard Fu from richardfu.com and The Ultimate Man. And today, guys, I've got a really special guest. He's just a new friend that I've met, one from other friends that we've interviewed on this show before. And just when I've looked at his work, and it's truly inspirational how he's able, and just his whole story of how he's gotten to where he has. And I'm just so excited to share that with you because he has this. Right, his name's Arek Rainczuk. Yeah, he has a philosophy all about capturing the stuff of life. That simple, the stuff of life, the unique, the individual characteristics of what's happening in the world, and most of all, what matters to people and what matters to us, the ones that are looking at the pictures. And so he's an amazing photographer. He captures the most stunning images, I say again, guys. He's that good, and so I'm so pleased to have him on the show. So, guys, I want you to welcome Arek onto the show. Arek, good to have you on, bro.
Hello, good to have you. It's good to be here. How are you going?
Great, bro. Great, bro. And of course, guys, you can see in the background over there, he's got his whole studio set up. And so, Arek, man, I know you now just for the last few minutes here, but for the people who don't know about you, man, could you share a bit more about yourself and I guess what you do, man?
Sure. So I'm a scientist who turned a photographer, and I've been in Australia for about 10 years, and I was doing a PhD in molecular biology, so completely different to what I'm actually doing now, and I ended up following my passion, and today I'm a full-time photographer specializing in meaningful portraits. So I like to say that I help people document and celebrate what they care about the most in their lives, be it their family, their partner, their pets. And I developed a signature approach in which I extract genuine emotions and let the personalities shine.
Oh.
That's the short version.
It's a short version. And before we go into a bit more about your story, man, I just want to tap into that last part because I'm just intrigued by myself, right? Because I'm not a very good photographer. And I can imagine, being a photographer, you got to get the subjects, the people who are there, even the pets to be just comfortable, right? And so how do you those emotions? Because you're there to capture an emotion, isn't it, right? And how do you get that what do you do, man? What's your secret technique, or what's something that someone, all right, maybe not the secret, but what's something that someone could do?
So there is not really a recipe. Now, the thing is, I've got a couple of really non-negotiable rules about, for example, working with clients. First of all, I always meet them ahead of time. So as a couple, family, or, even the pet, I would like to meet them ahead. I've got a beautiful space here that we do it. We have tea and we discuss, their life, their relationship, we figure out what they want. So it's really, really personalized. So when we actually meet for a session, I know exactly what to go for and I know a little bit about them. And then, as you said, with photography, with portraits especially, it's not about what people look like so much as what they represent to each other, how the relationships can be documented in the photograph, how the way they look at each other, the way they laugh together, the way they interact. And the trick to do it is basically, I've got a bunch of games that I play with my clients. So during the session, these are to make them comfortable, forget there's a camera. I don't really want them to look at the camera anyway. I want them to interact between each other. So it's very relaxed, very fun. I can make anyone look good. I photographed, people from a couple of months old to, 75-year-olds as well, of the 50th wedding anniversary. And so you wouldn't expect them to be comfortable in front of the cameraman, but I did that.
That's what you do, man. You're the magic, man. You're the magic, and you are the founder of the 5 castles, man. And so, Arek, man, let's go back in time a little bit, man, and tell us about your story, because I know, I've read about your story and you told me a bit about it, but it's interesting because you weren't actually born in Australia. You actually came from somewhere in Poland, correct? And then this whole journey to come here and actually open up your own business. Talk us up through that whole journey, man.
Yeah, so basically I grew up in Poland. I was born there, grew up there, met my wife there, got married there, graduated with master's degree in genetics. And maybe last 12 years before we left, I was already planning going away. So basically we just needed to find a place, and Australia was very attractive. So when I got a full scholarship here to do a PhD, which was great. So came down here, studied in Monash for a while, and became disillusioned with the career in science. I used to love science. I mean, I still love science, but I feel bad for scientists because the academia is not really a great career choice. So if you really want to be a scientist, you have to know that, which I didn't know at the time. So I became disillusioned, and I was trying desperately to find another way to live. Because in science, the thing is, it's all based around federal funding and publications, and constantly worrying about if you're going to get funded for the next year. And lots of really, really good, great scientists that I got to know, they ended up leaving science or moving away is completely different and trying from scratch again and again. So I bit the bullet and realized that I don't want that.
Let me jump in here, Arek, man. Is it like what scared you about the most, or not scared you, but what made you like decide? And because, I mean, having studied genetics in Poland and then coming over here to do your PhD, I'm guessing you were at least somewhere close to getting your PhD. And it's a hard decision, isn't it? To just say, you know what, I don't want to be a doctor. I don't want that PhD, right?
It is. So basically, you froze at the time.
Oh, yeah, we're good.
We're back. So basically, I was nearly done. I basically maybe have 10% of my thesis to finish up. Another thing is, in order to live on photography, I needed to dedicate all my time to it. So that was really hard. So for the last few years, I've been trying to keep one foot in science just to get everything sorted out there, but the business needed me more than that. And besides, like, it came down to just having the 3 letters in front of my name, after my name. So it wasn't worth it. So in the end, I decided to make this happen, and I'm not regretting anything. Let's put it this way.
No, I love it, man. I love that you bring it up that, you thought about it really deeply and thought about why did you really want it. Right? It's like, is it just for the 3 letters afterwards? And then what after that, right? Then
that's right. Yeah.
And then from there, you realize, hey, it's not actually going to make me happy to get that, right? To study all that.
That's right. The only thing would be the closure. That's it. So I kind of regret that I only have closure, but I don't regret leaving science for this. Let's put it this way.
Yeah, love it, man. Love it. And then so how did you take yourself from the man of science into a man of, we'll say, art and creativity and all these other things, man? Because that would have been hard to get out of your head, right? And just get back into like your heart.
Not really, actually. There's a lot of art in science and a lot of science in art. So actually, the step up is not a step through. Is not that difficult, to be honest. And there's lots of technical aspects in photography as well that that keeps my scientific brain going, as well as analyzing the business and working on the business. There's lots of decisions and analysis you have to do and decisions to be made and so on. So that's still going. Now, when I work with my clients, obviously there's lots of creativity and connecting with them on emotional level as well. So that's where I become just myself. So I always try to put myself in their shoes. So it's really important for me to imagine what their concerns are, what they would like to get out of it. That's why we meet ahead of time, and then I use that throughout the whole session.
Amazing, man. And when did you realize that you really just wanted to do like photography? Like, when did you pick up photography, and then when did you find out that or recognize that this is what I love the most?
Yeah, so photography, it's always been a part of me. So I used it was a hobby, that allowed me to sleep at night and think about something else in science when the research got really difficult. So it was always there. Now, the thing is, as I was realizing that I don't want to stay in science, I was desperately looking for some other, outlet, something else to do. And I never considered photography to be, livable one. I don't think you can actually live on photography. And I was wrong, right? I joined the National Institute of Professional Photography. It's called AIPP, Australian Institute of Professional Photography. So any aspiring photographers, look them up, join them. There's a lot of really good help there. A lot of people who know they're doing, a lot of seminars, workshops. So that's where I learned a lot of it. And I remember the first first meeting I went to, I just, didn't know anyone. It was, they call it decathlon. So it was 10 speakers, 10 different topics. Everyone only had 10 slides and 10 minutes to present. So it was really full on, and I, got to know like a nice cross section of the industry. And one of the people was talking more about business, and when I heard the numbers, what the costs are in business, what the profits are, what they charge for photography, that was a big epiphany for me. Then I realized actually if I do it right, I'll actually be able to live on it. Which that's when I made a decision to actually give a lot to it. So I invested in business coaching, specializing just in the industry, got the basics right, and then took next few months just to creatively brainstorm ideas for the whole setup of the business. So having the basics right, knowing that this is how you set it up so it doesn't fail, but then make it in my own. That's how I actually came to 5 Castles.
Right.
So first of all, I named it 5 Castles Portraits, not photography, because I specialize only in portraits. So I don't do any other stuff, any other types of photography, at least professionally. And then 5 Castles represents this umbrella brand that has 5 castles underneath, and each castle represents a different genre of portraiture. So I have Sand Castle, for example, for families, and Sand Castle represents, this fleeting, transient building that, in playfulness and summer and kids and so on. But it's also very transient. So, but then on the other hand, we've got Silver Castle for couples. We've got Pet Castle. And Business Castle, which is my latest one that I just opened. So they all, as a castle, they represent, a castle. I'm European, I can claim castles, but also they represent a stronghold, a safe house for the most valuable things. Where everything in a kingdom goes around is around the castle. That's where we keep protect the head of the country and of the kingdom, and so I thought it would be a good metaphor for what I want to achieve as well. And by keeping them separate, I have separate websites, separate content, separate portfolios. So when people go and for specific stuff, a specific type of portraiture, they only see stuff that is relevant to them. So they don't see, my business portraits. They don't see pets if they just want family portraits, for example.
I love that, man. I love how, did you start with the head in the game, knowing that you're going to go big and actually have all these arms of the different castles? So you already planned it. Man, this is it. Science is coming out all the way deep down, and that's amazing, man. That you already planned it out. That you said these are the things I'm going to do, but you didn't launch all 5 of them at once, did you, man?
No, not really. It's actually, because they all require different branding, different websites, and so on. So I started with Sandcastle, I think, because that was the one that I still have most of my clients. Then I think I did Silver Castle, Pet Castle, Dorothy's Castle, which is for same-sex couples, and the latest ones that I'm just finishing now. The website is the Business Castle Portraits, and that's the same approach that I do with domestic clients, but it's more about getting the image and the purpose more for business people. So executive portraits and showing the processes and how they work and what's different about them. Because people see the photograph on the website before they read the content and read the about page. So I want the image on the about page, for example, to say more than the about me section next to it.
Yeah, because I guess you want to bring out that warmth, that human element for the business.
That's
right. Also capture their values, right, through
That's right.
as well.
So we talk about who they're aiming the websites at, or the marketing content, and what message they want to show, how they want to be perceived, whether they want to be approachable, professional, or all those things. And it's not about a head on a white background. It's not a headshot. It's more of a environmental portrait that says exactly what everything they need to know about you in 1 or 2 photos.
I love that. And I got a question here for you, Arek, man. Is more and this is out of left field. So it's more about in photography and in art. We've gone through a phase where we want to be perfect, right? Everyone needs to look amazing. Everything gets photoshopped and all of this stuff. And then there's also, it looks like there's I think anyway, a stream coming through of, authenticity. Let's be real for once, right? Let's get real on camera. Let's get real. And how are you meshing in that, and how are you finding that is it being applied? Are you finding that it's happening more and more now with what your businesses are doing, that people want to see that real side and part of it?
Yeah. So what I usually tell to my clients is that the images are for them. So it's not going to be on the cover of Women's Weekly. No one's going to be judging you by that. It's not going on a billboard. It's not going, it's in your private home. It's going to remind you of the time, of that time in your life that we took the portraits in. And it's all about the relationships in it. And I tell them it's not about the look. So if someone wants to lose a couple kilos or don't like their chins or whatever, they usually forget about it by the time they view the images, because they see what I saw in them during the session. The session is not, we don't pose much. Obviously, I control the light, I control the backgrounds, I control the space and so on. But ultimately, through my games and the activities that we do, I make them forget to look good and make them be beautiful for each other. And that's what I photograph. And that's what they see. And that's what they have on the walls, and that's what it comes down to. So there's not much photoshopping. Obviously, there's a couple of little issues that we can fix, but ultimately it's pretty genuine, and that's what I love about it. Yeah.
Oh man, I love it, man. I can tell there's a huge passion coming out from you to not just get a nice photo, but get a feeling, get that feeling across in that photo. That's really the big key here. And this is why, this is the reason why I resonate with you and we're connecting, man. It means a lot to me to be able to bring your story out here. And I want us to, if you could give one piece of advice for someone who's thinking of either starting a photography business or even something in the arts that is really creative and out there, that most people think, I couldn't make money from this, right? Because, you went through that stage of how could I really make money out of photography? That's impossible almost, right? I should just have fun.
Yeah.
Or actually, what about this? How about the people who think, oh, if I try and make a business out of photography, then I'm selling out, right? And that it's not real, then I lose my soul. What would you tell them, man?
So if that's what they really want. So first of all, people have to know what it means to run business. So business and photography, you can have a business in photography, being a photographer, or you can run a business in any other way and not be a photographer. And so having a camera doesn't make you a professional photographer, or the other way around. So if someone loves business and loves photography, you can probably make it work, but you have to be able to choose which one you're going to be at a given time. So it's not about photography. We're not going to book you just because you take beautiful photographs. You have to have everything set up as well. So a couple of things I would recommend. First of all, getting a mentor who is in the industry. So just to figure out whether so they can figure out whether this is the thing they want to do. Because in photography, we don't have weekends. We rely on, especially if we shoot outside, we rely on the weather all the time. Different clients, so it's very exciting, and it's lots of different types of photography to go for, obviously. But it's really important to know what you're getting yourself into. Also, as you develop your style and everything, try to come up with some non-negotiable values and procedures that you're not going to bend on. So I've got a couple of those, for example, meeting my clients ahead of time, or being always on time, and getting to know them, and basically working for them and putting myself in their shoes and figuring out exactly what they want. So, and I found that if I break any of those, obviously the results are not what I want it to be. So these are my non-negotiable stances. Also making sure you can separate your life and business. So in photography, especially, I have home-based gallery, so there are two completely different spaces. I live upstairs, and my ground floor is completely for business, with everything just for clients. I don't live here at all. And having that is very important as well. So, having clients come to a professional looking space, they're not smelling what's been cooking, not hearing dogs barking, and having, wife in a bathrobe come through. That's really important as well. But also having a space where you can go and forget about business and work as well, completely, which is good as well. So when I started back when we were renting, so I couldn't have a space. So I was basically going to see my clients. So again, I had non-negotiable values then. I would bring all my samples with me. It took me 3 trips to the car and bring everything to show them what the sizes are. So sizes bigger than myself, I would bring them from the car and into, and projectors and everything, just so they could visualize what they're getting. So again, then when I had my space, I could set it up professionally in my space. But coming back to your question, what they should know when they're thinking about starting.
Yeah, like if they're in that situation where they're sitting there going, oh, but I love it as my hobby for now, and I don't think I can make it a business. Yeah. Right?
Yeah. So when you make it a business, it stops being a hobby. Unless you promote yourself and do only what you really, really want to do, there will be times where you'll be asked to do something that you don't really do or don't like doing, or you figure out it was good as a hobby, but you don't want to do every day, So people have to know exactly what's involved in running a business altogether, and especially in photography as well.
So to sum it up, it sounds like the biggest one for you, which you have it on a few times here, but I haven't brought it up, is you found that mentor who was a photographer and actually had a photography business as well that was quite successful for them to actually help you really understand what it takes to make this happen, to make it real, and to not, like you said, not paint the pictures of it's awesome, we get to do this, but it's also, it's difficult work. You got to rely on Mother Nature. You got to have a studio. You got to have all these other things ready. And so I love that, man. I love that. And it's so important because sometimes, we get all caught up in the glamour of business, right? That, we get all the money and then we get to do whatever we want. But it's true. The photographer only works with their subjects and when they're free. And most of the time it's usually after work or during weekends, right, man?
Yes, that's right. Obviously, for example, when I photograph, my families and couples, I usually do it around sunset or sunrise, and only on the weekends. So my weekends, mornings and evenings are taken most of the time, and I do all my meetings and admin stuff during the week. So my week is filled with sitting in front of the computer and meeting people and picking up samples, getting ready for pickup, printing, and so on and so on. So yes, it's a full-time job plus. So if people get happy on Facebook, it's Friday, and to me that means yes, I won't be in the office anymore, but I'll be getting up before sun, just before sunrise, and I'll be photographing people. So it's still work, but actually this is the fun bit of photography. But it's a minute bit. So if you like photography as a hobby, as a business owner, having as a business, it only takes maybe 5% of your time. That's the time you spend with the camera in your hand. Then there's 30% in front of the computer editing the images, 20% of the time meeting clients, and then the rest is admin and running around and doing all normal business stuff. Yeah,
and trying to get more clients in. Oh man, I love it, man.
Trying to get more clients.
Yeah, exactly, and I love it, man. I love it. And so, Arek, man, it pains me a lot, man, because I'm learning so much just listening to you about business, about photography, right? But we got to start wrapping up the show. So we're going to lead into some wrapping up questions here. And I'm going to start off with our favorite one, man, which is the time travel moment, right? Where if you could go back to any moment in your life, right, 5, 10, 15 years back, it doesn't matter. But if you could go back to see little Arek, right, where he is right now, at that time, and you could give him one piece of advice, what would you give little Arek?
It's probably one of the things that I've heard it before, and I still think about it every time, get stuff. For example, I would tell myself that, don't stress, because if there's a problem, an issue, and you cannot do anything about it, there's no reason to be stressing about it, because you cannot do anything about it. If you can do something about it, then do it, and you will not be stressing anymore. So I would say it that way. But like thinking back, I think my whole life, it led to this point anyway. So no matter what I did, I learned some lessons on the way. I would not change anything in my past, because I got here with what I have now. So I don't think I would be here if it was, if I changed anything before, Yeah. But I think, not stressing around, because if you can fix it, there's no reason to stress about it. If you cannot fix it, it's,
Yeah, I love it. Simple advice, and that makes sense, man. And so, next question I have for you, Arek, man, is, I mean, I'm sure, when you were in Poland and then when you came over here, you've received a lot of people giving you advice, right? And I want to ask you, Arek, like, what's the one big piece of advice that is like number one that always sits in there, aside from what you just gave us here? What else sticks in your head, man? That what's the best piece of advice someone's ever told you?
I think that's the one that I just said, but yeah. So that one was so important to me. That's why I brought it up just a second ago. But I think so. I'm not sure whether I heard it from someone, but actually there was a story behind it. So I always try to put myself in someone else's shoes. That I realized that when I was back in Poland studying, and I had a 6-month placement in the UK. Mm-hmm. So I went to work in the lab there for 6 months. I remember they weren't really prepared for someone to just come in for 6 months to work there, and didn't have any plan for me. So basically I was just left alone and sitting in the lab not doing much. And I remember how I felt then, and whenever I came back to my own lab, and here in Australia, the same thing. When we had a new person coming in, I always took basically a week out of my schedule just to take that person and show them everything around. And because I remember how I felt back then. So it was really important for me to not have them go through the same thing. Mm. And that goes all the way to here, even now. So when my clients come through the door, and I try to figure out how they feel and what are the concerns and everything, and put myself in the issues and come with answers before they even ask the question. Yeah.
Love it, man. And it's so powerful and so important to just, I guess it sounds like it's also just be a beginner, right? Just get into that beginner's mind. Just pretend like you don't know what it is, what they're experiencing. Just get into their shoes. So I love that, man. I love that so much. And so just a few more left here, man. So Arek, man, what's one of your favorite books, man? What's one of your favorite books that, people who are listening or watching really need to read and pick up?
So it's a classic. So everyone probably should know it already. Mm-hmm. It's by Dale Carnegie. It's How to Make Friends and Influence People. So it's pretty old. It's from before the war, but it's still very valid. It's a very easy read. I think I've read a couple of times, and there's a couple of lessons there that I always think about. For example, when you be heard, you have to listen. So it's more about that's. So I ask my clients more the questions. The less that I say, the more they say, and the more I know, and the better it gets in the end.
I love it, man. So true, man. And here's one question that we like to keep a special one here. This is for all the men out there. I mean, Arek, what we do at the Ultimate Man is all about helping men become better men, right? And in the modern world of man today, what do you think is missing? What do you think is missing in the modern man's world, and what do you think he needs to actually have in his world so that he can then become really who he's supposed to be, the real man he's meant to be?
Yeah, I think a real man in this world, I think we lost a little bit from the good old times, before the feminist area. Obviously, I love women. I want them to be as equal as they can, but I think they would still appreciate if men were actual men. So if they opened the door for them, or stood up when they're standing up, or let them through the door first. All those little things actually really make us live it better in the world, right? So I think that's the thing that in Poland is pretty normal to still kiss a lady's hand when you meet them and so on. Oh. That's completely unheard of here. And every time, for example, I let the girls through the door here, they're always shocked. Yeah. They're literally shocked. Yeah. But I think that makes their day. So I think if more guys did it, I think nothing bad would happen.
Yeah, some more chivalry, man. And I love that you bring up that doors example, because I remember in high school, I was probably like 14 or something, and I opened the door once for a teacher, and she was female, right? She was like probably 20 something. And I remember when she walked past and she looked at me like fully shocked. She's like, I was like, did I do something wrong for holding this door, right? So I know what you mean, man. Like even just holding the door and letting a woman go past, sometimes they get really shocked and they just don't know how to react. So I love that advice, man, to bring back the chivalry. And so just two more questions here, Arek, man. So you've clearly figured out what your purpose is, right? You've clearly listened to yourself and followed through with that. But how would you describe, what does it mean to live in true purpose, right? How would you describe how someone could go find their true purpose if you needed to describe it to someone?
How would they go to find a true purpose? I get very easily passionate about different stuff. And the passions are they burn hot, but they burn out at some point. But there's few passions that they don't burn out. So I think that's, in my case, for example, that was one thing that made me realize what my purpose was. And obviously the set of skills that we have. So I wouldn't be a good accountant. I cannot sit in front of a computer more than 20 minutes at a time and do one thing at a time. And I love working with people, and then I love being creative, but then I love mixing everything. I'm easily bored if I have to do the same thing over and over. So when someone's not sure about their passion, their purpose, I think finding their passion and the set of skills and habits that they have and that work best in that lifestyle, I think that's one of the ways you can get about finding it.
Oh man, that was awesome, man. I love it, man. I love that. Oh, that's beautiful. And so, man, to wrap up on the last question here, Arek, if you only had 30 seconds left to live, right? You're surrounded by, your family, your friends, all the clients that you've touched, right, with their amazing photography skills, and everyone else that you've impacted in the world. What would you leave with, right? What's your final message, man, in these last 30 seconds? What would you say?
I would tell them that everything works out in the end. So no matter what you do, what decisions you make, you have to make 100 more after that, and you'll somehow find your course anyway. So you cannot plan for the future. It all works out by itself. Obviously, you have to steer it the right way, but I think that would be it.
Amazing, man. Amazing, brothers. Thank you so much for being on, Arek, man. I want to say I honor you, man, and it means a lot to me that there's people out there like you that aren't just going out there to make pretty photos, but to make emotionally beautiful photos and photography like that. And that means a lot to me. I'm definitely going to find a way to bring you up to Sydney for my own wedding, man, when we do that, right? I think you would get the best photos for us, man. So, man, for people who want to learn more about yourself and your work and, to get in touch with you, if they want beautiful photos in Melbourne, Australia, where's the best place they should go, brother?
They can find me online at 5castles.com.au. It's FIVE castles.com.au, and that will bring you to a beautiful animated painting that I had commissioned before, and choose your own castle from there. And but the best way is just to give me a call and meet me in my gallery, and we can discuss everything. And if someone else wants to talk about anything else, just give me a call, and I still have tea with you.
Awesome, bro. Awesome, man. So, Arek, man, like I said, an absolute honor to have you here and bring your story onto the air here. So thank you so much for being on, man. It means a lot to me.
Thank you for having me, Richard.
You're welcome, man. And so, guys, this wraps it up again for another episode of the Forge Your Life podcast. Of course, remember to head on over to richardfood.com to get all the show notes and all the resources that Arek has shared here as well. And remember, I don't want to keep this the world's best kept secret. Arek doesn't want to keep this the world's best kept secret. So make sure you go on over to iTunes and subscribe and share this podcast show out, because Arek's message and everyone else's message that we've interviewed on this show needs to get out there into the world, because the world needs it more than ever before. So make sure you go do that. And of course, guys, remember to go out there, go live with love, and go smash it. I'll see you again on the next one.